I hold in my hand a McDonald's French fry. To be honest, I've eaten way more of these things than I care to admit. When I was in high school, my parents would travel for work weeks at a time, and they'd give me money to feed myself. I would literally eat McDonald's every day because a McDouble and large fry was $3.05, which I thought was the cheapest meal I could get. And it allowed me to use that spending money on non-perishable goods. Statistically, you've eaten some of these too, though I'd bet you're like me. When I eat this French fry, I don't actually taste it. I'm probably watching a YouTube video, driving my car home from work, or having a conversation with a friend. My stomach gets what it needs, but my mind completely fails to meaningfully process what I put in my mouth. Most of the time we consume media, we're dangerously close to treating it like a McDonald's French fry, something we watch or play without really thinking about it. Have you ever glanced at your phone while playing a game? Gone to the bathroom while watching a TV show? Talked about something completely unrelated with a friend while you're watching a movie? Perhaps you're even a little distracted as you watch this video. Don't worry, I don't mind. But how often do you fail to taste the media you experience, relish in its intricacies and ideas? Don't get me wrong though, I'm not judging you. I sure hope it's okay to have bad taste. After all, I'm the girl who's probably eaten over 100,000 of these disgusting fries. Yeah, I actually did the math to embarrass myself in front of you. So, do you think I have any right to criticize your aesthetic taste? But that said, I do think some people have bad taste. Others have good taste. I recently posted a hot take on Twitter about this topic and received some pushback from people who polled from the whole objectivity versus subjectivity in art debate to basically argue there's no such thing as good taste. Well, if that's you, that's your opinion, I'm here to say you're wrong. And don't worry, I'll explain why. But first, let's get a common misconception out of the way. Good taste is not what you think it is. Some people use the phrase to describe a correct opinion about art, as though a person with good taste in cinema likes the good movies and dislikes the bad ones. Such an opinion relies on the false assumption that some art is objectively better than others. Other folks have even applied a moral imperative to good taste, as though good people have it and bad people don't, which is just hogwash. Neither is what I mean when I say good taste. You are not better than anyone else if you have it, and it actually has nothing to do with what you like. It's all about why you like it. Good taste is the ability to discern why you like or dislike a work of art and articulate those reasons to other people. If you can do that, you've got good taste. No one is born with good taste. It's a skill they develop over time. The more a person critically engages with an art form, the more developed their taste becomes. The procurement of good taste isn't a linear line. It requires effort and care to understand what you like and why you like it. Remember, we're talking about an active relationship with art, not just shoveling it down your throat like a McDonald's French fry, but genuinely tasting it. For instance, let's take two people, Brian and Sally. Brian watches one movie a month, usually whatever one they saw the most commercials for. And Sally watches 3 movies a week, taking recommendations from a cadre of critics she trusts. By the time a year passes, Sally will have watched 144 more movies than Brian. Brian's favorite movie last year was Jurassic World Dominion, though he can't explain why. Maybe he just likes dinosaurs. Sally loved Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio and can go on about it for hours. Honestly, it's kind of annoying. But which one of them would you trust to give you a movie recommendation? Probably Sally, because she's got better taste than Brian does. It may shock you to learn this, but we've got a lot more Brians in the world than Sallys, and that's okay. Engaging with art thoughtfully is not a moral imperative, like, I don't know, protecting trans rights or providing housing to the homeless. You can enjoy art while having no purposefully developed taste in it at all. And maybe for most people that's just preferable. Taste is not the measure of how much you enjoy art. Still, I personally find a lot of fulfillment from developing my taste. So I wanted to give you all the keys to the kingdom. How does one acquire good taste? What's my secret? What's everyone who has good taste secret? Well, despite our previous story of Brian and Sally, good taste is not the end result of just eating a lot of meals. If that was true, every 80-year-old would be an excellent food critic. Good taste instead comes from stepping outside our comfort zone, trying things we've never tried before, and coming away with new understandings of flavor. If you watch the same thing every day for 10 years, you'll experience a lot of media, but you won't develop taste. That may seem silly, but you'd be surprised how easy it is to slip into a passive state of media consumption, especially in our modern culture. Netflix, YouTube, and TikTok are all designed to make you a docile part of the experience of art because they've monetized your attention. You've got to seize it back from them, but how do you do that? Well, quite simply, we allow other people to influence what we watch, play, and listen to. We find voices we trust enough to give a little bit of our time to hear what they have to say, and then even more of our time and money as we dive into the works of art they recommend. It's so easy to miss your potential favorite game if you take everything at face value or only follow the crowd. Heck, that's exactly what happened to me with Undertale and Celeste, which are now two of my favorite games, but I waited years after their release dates to actually play them because at first blush, they didn't seem interesting to me. I could have played them sooner if I had been better about curating who gave me game recommendations and trusted the people who were telling me that Undertale and Celeste were good in the first place. You should have individuals in your life who, when they say, hey, this game is amazing, I think you'd like it, you don't question it, even if it's a weird RPG you might not like. Instead, you're just gonna dive right into it. And even if you end up disliking the game, the experience is infinitely more valuable than simply replaying something you already like or something like something you already like. Don't just always follow your gut feeling and get games like the ones you already have, because processing what you don't like about a game gives you a new language for describing both what you like about it and don't. And that's the development of taste. Literally, that is what it means to develop taste. I don't think most people miss the era of Blockbuster and video rental stores, but honestly, I do. My small town had a family video, and it was relevant until right at the end of high school when Netflix really started to get big. And in high school, my friends and I would mosey on over there, pick a few movies, watch them back to back. If the group was small, like 2 or 3 people, we'd just each pick a movie to watch, and if it was big, we'd pair off based on taste and select movies together. A sour debate often swirled around picking movies, but in retrospect, I loved that my friends, by virtue of choosing films I'd never have chosen, exposed me to all sorts of new ideas, helped me develop my sense of taste. Even if it sometimes meant watching the worst movie I'd ever seen, like Thailand, which simply put, I don't want to get into right now, so I'm not going to. My high school best friend, who I watched that trash with, still comes over to my apartment once a week to watch a movie. A dozen years since we graduated high school. We take turns picking movies, forcing the other person to watch whatever we are in the mood for. I get more out of this relationship taste-wise than watching any 3 movies I'd randomly pick up for myself, or let an algorithm choose for me. If I think back on the best movies I saw recently, they were all recommended by someone I trust. I watched the tear-jerking documentary Fire of Love on Kiki Crazed's recommendation, and it floored me. Jacob Geller won't shut up about RRR on Twitter, so I watched it, and now I won't shut up about it either. My child watches Naatu like every day. My high school best friend forced me a few months ago to watch the absurd film Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, and now that's one of my all-time favorite films. A documentary about volcanoes? A Bollywood film? A 1980s Spanish black comedy? If I was left to my own devices, I can guarantee you I would have watched none of these movies. But because I trusted other people, my palate expanded. If my current taste is better than my past taste, and yes it is Evelyn from 1 year ago, it stands to reason that one person's taste can be better than another's. Once again, if someone has better taste than you, it doesn't mean that they like better art, or is a better person than you. It means they've honed in on what they like and can recommend it with articulation and passion. To assume someone has better taste than you is an act of humility, recognizing you don't know everything. You haven't played every game, and you never will. A person with different experiences and tastes from you is thus an invaluable resource, because they can introduce you to flavors and ideas you'd never consider on your own. Once you allow yourself to concede that other people might know a thing or two you don't, might know what you would like better than you would, then you can really start cooking. If you're lucky, you might also find mutual relationships where you enhance each other's taste together, because it's through such relationships that we grow to most appreciate art. When I claimed that my friend Kat, YouTube channel Pixel a Day, had better taste than me, her response was confusion, because she thinks I have better taste than her, or at least that's what she implied. Maybe she doesn't. But that's a healthy media friendship right there. Though, a word to the wise. Do not rely on aggregate sites like Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic to make your taste for you. The tomato website is not your friend. Metacritic has no authorial voice. These websites do not measure how good a movie is or how much you will like a game. They measure how palatable a product is for the widest possible audience. Palatable is kind of a nice way to say boring. Most of the time, those movies that score best on these websites specifically do so not because they're the best art, but because they're the least dislikable art. Understand that a profound gulf exists between those two descriptions. Similarly, TikTok and YouTube's algorithms are not optimized to challenge you or expand your taste, but to keep you on their platform as long as possible so that they can sell ads. To accomplish that goal, they primarily try to keep you watching the same kinds of videos again and again, because that's what they already know you like. Algorithms do not have your best interests in mind, but a company's bottom line. Do not let that bottom line dictate and contain your taste. All right, I know, I get a little passionate. And I said that taste is not a moral imperative, but an expanded palate can increase your appreciation for art, give you a wider understanding of the human experience, make you a better artist, or simply enrich what time you have on this earth. My taste isn't just a simple checklist of art I like and don't like. It's a reflection of my relationship to the world, what I find value in, how I spend my time. I strive to better my taste because I look back and see who I was 10, 20 years ago, and I enjoy art more today because of the investments I made then. I hope to still be kicking it 20 or 40 years from now, so every time I step outside of my comfort zone and try something new today, I invest in who I will be tomorrow. You have to risk not liking art to refine your taste and figure out what you do like. Art that only makes safe choices is barely art at all. It's a McDonald's French fry. Instead of these sites and algorithms, find friends and trusted critics you can rely on to supply you with a filter to our world of endless media, but not endless time to experience it. Fortunately for you, you aren't a farmhand in rural Wyoming circa 1875 without any artistic friends. You've got the internet. You can find all sorts of people who will freely lend you their taste to help you develop your own. I follow folks like Transparency and Mara Ganger who appreciate vastly different kinds of art than I do. And they not only give me tight recommendations for games new and old, but a sample of their own unique tastes. But guess how I found them? People I trusted recommended them to me. You're free to take someone else's taste and make it your own. I do it all the time, and it's wonderful. Art doesn't exist in a vacuum. Our enjoyment and understanding of it is dependent on others who can explain why it's great and point us toward new aesthetic paths to go down. Whatever tastes you currently have are the end result of what you've experienced and who got you to experience it. You will not grow in your taste without help. So seek out those with vastly different tastes than you and trust them when they say insert art is where it's at. Understand that good taste isn't a mystery. It's a result of attention, time, and most importantly, relationships. I am Error, off to take more chances with art I might not like, while throwing in the occasional 100,000 McDonald's French fries. Signing off. I'm on the credits roll right now. These are like 3 hours old. I bought them on my way home. They taste so bad. They taste so bad. They're so cold.